Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Super Subs Podcast. We have a very exciting slate of games to discuss today. Your host, as usual, Harish and Narvin. Um, per usual, Narvin, we'll start with our super sub of the week, either from the weekend games or any of the games today and yesterday.
I will go with Super Sub being from the weekend. Um, Former United homegrown player on loan at Villa, Rashford, came in the second half and grabbed two assists. We'll touch on the game a bit more. But basically, Rashford getting two assists to another loanee, to Asensio, who got both those goals. So Rashford, I think, was my super sub for the weekend.
Nice. Um, yeah, that was very unfortunate that it was him. Um, my super sub of the week is also a former Manchester United. Can you take a guess? I feel like Manchester United players everywhere,
Uh,
but he
form
might be he might be claimed by other teams too, though. But he's a former United.
I don't know.
All right, I guess this segment is guess the player. Um, he is a forward, former Manchester United, and former Gooner.
Former Gooner and Manchester United.
hmm
Uh, are there questions allowed or no?
I'll do this. He played for, yeah, there are. I'll let you get five questions. He started out at United and then went to Arsenal. But
Oh,
I think he was better at Arsenal, people usually will say.
we're talking about Danny Welbeck?
Yeah.
Interesting shout.
Um, he scored the winner for Brighton to get the
Oh, you're
dub
talking
against.
about midweek game. Okay, I thought you were referring to the weekend.
Oh yeah, so midweek against Bournemouth, uh, got the winner in the 75th minute. Kind of one-on-one with the keeper. Definitely had some pressure with the defender on his back, but kind of just squeezed it in and into the bottom corner. But Welbeck still got it. So props to him. How old is he now? He's getting up there, like 34. Yep, getting up there, old Gramps. But again, if it wasn't for his injuries throughout his career, he would probably be like it's impressive he's still at Brighton considering the types of injuries he's suffered.
Yeah, that's a big goal too, because that puts Brighton level on points with Bournemouth.
hmm
Bournemouth could have climbed up the table to um, basically sitting right behind you guys off a goal differential if Bournemouth pulled out that win.
Yeah, so Brighton, they're still in contention for that top four place. Uh, like you mentioned, Bournemouth kind of missing out with that loss, but yeah. So those are our super subs of this past week. Um,
I also think one person that could have gotten a really good shout as a super sub, but
mhm.
not really getting another one of those players that don't get on the score sheet, but like in terms of like I think playing really well to see out the win was Endo for Liverpool. I
Mm.
think he would have been a really rogue shout, but I thought he kind of changed the game a bit for Liverpool.
I feel like whenever he comes on, it's like game over. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear me. Had my mic
Mhm.
down. Um, but whenever he comes on, it's kind of like, it's GG because when he comes on, it's you're not getting a goal on them.
Yeah, and it's something Slot kind of, I guess, has just kind of been figuring out as of recent.
Mm-hmm. Because what was that game where he didn't come on, but probably should have? Um, and they ended up dropping some points recently. Was it against?
Was it
Was it
ever?
Everton where he didn't make an appearance, but probably should have?
Yeah, I think so.
Um, because to your point, also against like Wolves, like yeah, they went up 2-0, and then Cunha scored that banger. But then like when he came on, it was kind of like raps,
Hmm.
even with all that Wolves pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good shout. I had another backup Manchester player too that we'll get into it when we talk about the games, but he was on my short list as well. A more recent United player. But um, yeah, let's go into the games. So today we'll just kind of do a wrap up of the games, mostly in Premier League, but we'll talk about some in other leagues as well. I think first we'll start out on Saturday. The Where do we want to start here?
Should we? You want to just go in order of the time slot?
Yeah, we can do that. Everton United first game of the weekend ended up tying 2-2. Be honest, probably should have been Everton. But this game has been a battle of two managers who came in mid-season with struggling clubs. Probably Everton in a worse spot, but it kind of has felt like it's gone two completely different roads since these managers have joined.
Yeah, Everton getting the manager bounce, and then we're kind of the opposite. We're still kind of in the experimental phase, and then just blown with injuries recently too.
Yeah. I will say one player that kind of stood out to you for you guys though again, probably the only player is really Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah, I think him and Dorgu. I thought Dorgu had a good game. I
Mm.
think we see glimpses of like why he was brought. Um, he's still quite young, so I think as he develops, one thing he'll kind of have to work on his game is that final product. Like the crossing ability. I thought his
Hmm.
crosses were a little too easily claimed and stuff, but I mean, I thought he had a pretty good game. But yeah, to your point, Bruno. I think like some United fan base that like hate on him and like even others in general, like they're all clowns. Like Bruno's the heartbeat of a team. Uh he's gonna
Yeah.
go down as a United legend in my eyes. Like once he's gone, like it's gonna be it's gonna suck. Like he carries this team
Hmm.
and has been for the past couple years.
Yeah. So it's kind of unfortunate. Like I feel like fans will appreciate him once he's gone. Like a lot of players, that kind of happens.
Hmm.
Well, I will say like a huge fan base does still like him, even t people from other that support other teams. But there's always like it feels like a big fan base for United too that kind of get on him a lot.
Hmm.
Um, I will say Casemiro too had a slightly a better game, but still, that man is washed. I thought he was going to Saudi for some reason this past winter transfer window, but I guess not.
There were links to Saudi. There were links to a loan to Roma.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Um, so I'm not sure why it didn't pan out. Might be because of the injury crisis we're having, but
But props to on the other side too, David Moyes. He's kind of completely transformed this team with Everton, and I think he's especially with like Beto too. Like Beto looks completely different form. I don't know how much of an impact it's that Moyes has made necessarily. I think he's just on a good form right now. But
it's that Mateta form when
yeah,
Glasner came.
yeah, for real, it really feels like that. Similar type of player to like build and everything. Uh, but yeah, I like how David Moyes in the past he's definitely been a little more like defensive minded and stuff. But like Uh, Now kind of the way he sets this team up versus Sean Dyche is like they press on pretty high.
Yeah, the first like 5 minutes they were on us already.
And they've been
Almost
doing that
gonna, yeah.
all year with Moyes.
I will say Everton's goals though, like were preventable. They were quite comical from our end. Uh, the defending for them, like that first goal off the corner is like guys just head it away, like so simple
Hmm.
to deal with. Um, Second one, like that brother Onana, he all right as a like parries it right into Decore basically, who gets the
Yeah.
free jump on Maguire. And then I'll say we got lucky because at the very end, I thought it was a clear pen. Not sure
Oh
what.
yeah.
I thought they were looking at like Beto being offside, blocking the vision or something at first.
I think they were
Um,
looking at that as well though. But I think that like passed.
gotcha. Yeah, so I think that was a clear penalty on Young. But as a former goalkeeper, like, what are you taught in
Hmm.
training sessions? Like, if you can't hold on to the
Yeah.
ball, parry it to the side, right? This man
Yeah.
Onana parries it right down the middle, like to pre, and he does this all the time. Like, bro, come on. He has not been an upgrade to De Gea. I know he's had a better
No.
season this year, but like even he's praised for his long balls and stuff, but his long balls at United stinks. Like playing past 20 yards, he can't deliver. So he's quite frustrating. And
But I
then
feel like he's I feel like he's like kind of the least of your worries though, no?
he is the least, but still
Because
like
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, he is the least though.
But that second
Um,
goal, like I definitely think like to your point, he could have done better and parried it out to the side. Like he does typically whenever he can't catch, he just parries it and like kind of lets it fall right on him.
mhm. And then another player who I felt bad had a low rating was like when you look at player ratings, Xerxes had a really poor rating, but it doesn't help the fact that his leading line is Hoyland. Like this brother is so low on confidence.
And
Like
skills.
I don't think he ever really had the skills, but like, bro, at Atalanta, you would always make these like runs, like breezing past defenders. Like now it's like, dude, can you make a run like down the channel or something? Provide some sort of support. Like I wish there was like some running stats or something.
Dude, I'm
Because
telling you, he's a track star, dude. He chose the wrong sport.
even like a track star, like I was watching some of his movements, he makes no runs. Like you got to open up space or something.
Low IQ. And also like
Yes, very low IQ.
every time you like, a forward like him with his stature, you want someone to be able to hold off the defender, hold the ball sometimes, and just his like first touch is absolute like he can't hold the ball.
Yeah, I think this is the last point I'll say for United because I don't want to go too much on a rant, but like Cheeto, I don't want to throw Cheeto in like starting already, but like the 20 minutes that he got in, he looked a lot better in terms of hold up play, like connecting with Xerxes. Like Xerxes looked a lot better, and as a team, we looked a lot better with Cheeto on those last 20 minutes.
Yeah, he's Danish too, right?
Yeah.
That's funny. Well, I do feel bad though for Amarin. He's come in and just the team has looked. People are calling for his head already.
No way.
And yeah, the people have been.
Or I
And
mean like
oh, like it
no
shouldn't happen.
yeah, no way he should. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like he needs some more love around there. So I did create a chant for him or a song. Um, you know, every star player, a coach has one. Usually it's needs to be deserved, but I feel like he hasn't gotten the love, so created one. I don't know if you want to hear this. Maybe United fans can adopt this. Um, It's based off. Are you ready? It's based off Lady Gaga.
Oh gosh.
Ra, ra, you know that one?
Uh-huh.
No. Okay. Ruben Amorim, you will never win. Not with the sad squad, Casemiro. Ruben Amorim, you will never win. Not with the sad squad, Rasmus Højlund.
Yeah, throw that song in the bag.
Bro, it was fire. I know that was fire. And you can insert any player name you want. Rasmus Højlund, Casemiro.
Nah, not Bruno. Not Bruno and Dorgu from this.
No, but whoever you want. You know, Ruben Amorim, you would never win. Not with this sad squad.
Hey, we're
Matthias Delit. Delit is another guy we need to talk about.
yeah, he had a poor well, I don't think he's looked terrible since coming to United, like as people make it out to be, but this game he looked like immobile. He passes were lackluster. I don't know. He was on drugs this game. But I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to harp too much on United because I feel like it's kind of the same issues. But I want to give a few props to Everton players. I thought Decore had a really
Yes,
good game.
sir.
Um,
Your favorite.
and Amarin, I mean not Amarin, Moyes uh, I think Moyes has really used his strengths, like powerful runner, covering so much ground, and uh, he has some finishing ability to his game too. So I think Moyes is using him at a like his fullest potential.
Yeah. That man's got such an engine in him.
Hmm.
Um, like he was the first one always setting the press on uh Onana even and then um like even throughout the entire game he just never looks like he gets tired.
Not at all. Yeah, so props to Everton, man. Since Moyes has come on, uh, they haven't lost a single game.
In the Premier League, right? Because they lost in the FA Cup to Bournemouth, but
Oh yeah, in the
was it?
Premier
Yeah,
League.
Bournemouth. Yeah. Yeah, and then they tied today against Brentford too. So,
Hmm.
but let's move on to the next game that day that we can touch on. I know we didn't. Yeah, let's go with. We didn't have this on the list, but I know we both kind of watched it. Was Spurs Ipswich? Um, did you have any thoughts or anything you wanted to say from this one?
I think Spurs got very fortunate. Uh,
Agreed.
Scoreline does not reflect the game at all. The lap should have easily had like two goals within the first 15 minutes of the game. And that would have kind of changed the game already.
And even after Spurs' two goals, like Ipswich did grab one back, but like they probably should have grabbed some more after Spurs went up.
Yeah, I thought Ipswich looked the better. They just got unfortunate. Um, I can I can see why Ben Godfrey got sold by Atalanta on loan.
Oh, he was getting cooked.
Yeah, he's getting cooked by 32-year-old son.
Hey, don't disrespect son.
We haven't seen Son move like that in a minute.
Yeah, but he's a legend for Spurs, bro.
He is a legend.
Um, yeah, it might be time to put the kimbops in the bag. Um,
He should honestly like, because a lot of Bayern Munich fans are like, hating on Gnabry and Leroy Sané. So Bundesliga, like, little easier.
ooh,
Reconnect with your boy Kane.
ooh, I like that,
Happy
dude.
days.
That'd be fun. They're like best friends.
Because Odegaard back from injury, like, I feel like they'll have to kind of fit him into the lineup too at some point.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Yeah, like I mean, perfect example was today against City, Odebear starting over Son.
mhm.
But I like that shout to Bayern. Dude, Gnabry is so bad. He had like that one stint with Arsenal where he was like, "Ooh, who's this guy?" And then like after that one season, he's been washed.
Or you mean with Bayern? He was cooking at Bayern for a little bit, and then
Oh, well, no, even at Arsenal, wasn't it like his last year before he got um transferred over? Like, wasn't he cooking for Arsenal?
nah, not really.
Oh, I'm tripping. I swore he yeah, I have to pull up those stats. Um, but yeah, Bayern, that man Olise is definitely the best winger for them, easily.
Hmm. Yeah.
Uh, all right, moving on to let's see. Next,
Arsenal?
yeah, let's go to the Arsenal game.
Arsenal.
They lost to West Ham 1-0. Thanks to who was potentially my super sub, Wan-Bissaka. Again, he was on my uh, one of my best 11s in the Premier League and transfers of the season.
Super
Uh,
sub. He was a starter this game.
oh, yeah, I am tripping, bro. He
Word.
what was I think? Yeah, I don't know, but he was on my transfer 11 um for right back, and he's been absolutely cooking this year. And today too, I felt like Calafiori was struggling versus him. Got cooked on the goal where Wan-Bissaka just put a perfect cross.
I wish we saw more of that in the United days. Wan-Bissaka was moving crazy.
I feel like he was moving kind of crazy at United. You guys just y'all don't have the tech like West Ham.
Yeah, it's a bad loss for Arsenal, man. Especially with Liverpool. It was really funny seeing Arsenal fans gassed up when Villa held Liverpool to a draw midweek going into the weekend. Like,
And Everton too.
yeah, because then if Liverpool, Arsenal were like, yeah, City, I mean, Liverpool just tied Villa midweek and now they got City Sunday, so another tie. Like, Arsenal, they can climb up to like 5 points within. But this is like one of those must-win games. I know they got injuries, like no striker basically, but they're and this is coming from a United fan. Like we're hard to watch, but Arsenal, I'm not gonna even cap. They are pretty hard to watch.
Yeah, it's especially without Saka, it's pretty easy to beat this team.
I'll give credit that one Yeri kid. I mean, I feel like he'll do more of the chance creations, like try to actually create something out of nothing, but their attack just
hmm
not fun to watch.
Yeah, I agree. I think when they lost Saka, um, it was basically Dunzo's. Um, yeah, when they lost Odegaard, they did go down a level. We all saw that in their attack, but like without Saka now, they literally have nothing. Especially with teams that play such a low block and mid block type style, like if Saka was on that pitch, he would have been able to create something out of nothing. Like that's just the type of player he is. When you have a superstar like that, you can create things out of nothing. Um, Odegaard would be the next one you look at, but he's been really off this year. I don't know what it is, but he just like even that one free kick he had in maybe the 80th minute or something from near midfield, like they set up for like I mean, they're good at set pieces and they had to set up for a bunch of their big guys to go in the box and then he just plays a sideways pass to Saliba who wasn't even expecting it. But I don't know, something's just wrong with Odegaard, especially after the season he had last year with Arsenal. He's the captain too. Like he should be carrying a lot of responsibility, but he hasn't stepped up. Obviously they don't have Saka, and they just don't really have other attackers that can create some magic to break down like a
Mhm.
low block and compact defense. And then West Ham, like teams like that, like they can just sit back and uh, they'll just hit Arsenal on the counter a couple times, and one will end up being a goal. I think West Ham, they could have had another two goals. Kudus kind of wasted a couple chances, but yeah, Arsenal are in trouble because teams, it's you just sit back and stay compact and hit them on the counter a couple times, and they're done.
Yeah. West Ham getting that first goal was crucial for their win. And then obviously once Arsenal got the red, um, it's kind of wraps. But it's funny because uh, I mean Liverpool they got the title in the bag, but
Hmm.
they play Arsenal May 10th. So I mean I'm sure like the week before maybe when Liverpool face Chelsea, like maybe even early, maybe earlier they'll have the title wrapped up, but like officially secured. So it'll just be funny if Liverpool play Arsenal that day and Arsenal have to give them like the guard of honor when Liverpool
Oh
are home.
yeah. Like this could have been such a fun title race, but Arsenal have just absolutely ruined it. Um,
Yeah, that's why I like. I mean, as much as I also hate City, like I miss the days they were kind of good because like the title race, it was like if one of them slip up, then they were in trouble because like the other one would just take advantage. Whereas here,
hmm.
Liverpool slip up a bit, they're fine because they know Arsenal are gonna slip up also.
And then I think part of it has to be like like who's at fault for all this is like obviously the attackers like it has to be all on I mean Odegaard a little for me, right? He has to step up. Saka did that. Odegaard a little, but a lot of it for me has to be on Arteta. Um, he should have recognized that they needed to boost their attack, um, and it's essentially his fault for not going after signings aggressively for attack. I mean, they got Sterling, but everyone knew he was washed. He's been washed.
I think Sterling was also more of just a emergency like backup, like a off the bench type
Yeah,
player. So
that he's fallen off quick. Because it
yeah,
was just a few years ago at City
it's
winning
sad
titles.
to see um a Premier League legend of the game falling off that
Hmm.
quick.
Um, but I blame Arteta for that. And then even like his tactics at times, like again, when you're playing teams in such a low block, like West Ham this weekend, um, why not like because they were absolutely dominating uh West Ham in terms of possession. It was like 70 something to 20 something like it was something ridiculous. And so why not like throw on like Zinchenko earlier? Because I forget when Zinchenko came on. I think it was after Timber got that red.
Or you mean
Um,
Lewis Skelly?
or yeah, when Lewis Kelly got the red, and then uh, they put on Zinchenko. I might be mistaken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, but like, why not bring him on earlier? Just like another wing back, or like even Calafiori, like he was playing left back. Like, why not have him play almost like as a midfielder because they were absolutely dominating West Ham. So like, if Ethan Wary or Odegaard isn't able to break down, or Trossard isn't able to break down the defense, create some magic, like just put an extra body in the midfield, and you have a numerical advantage. And he never did that with Calafiori. We could have brought on Zinchenko. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Comes down to Arteta for me.
Yeah, I think a little blame has to go on him. I saw a really cool interview. I think it was a clip of Cesc Fabregas kind of talking about the modern day game, and like how some coaches he said was basically like they kind of treat their players like robots, like um yeah, they're well drilled, but just taking away the freedom of like players kind of utilizing their strengths to create those magical moments. Whereas now it's like they have to be in this position at like this scenario. Like I think that's a little bit what we see with Arsenal is like there's they are well drilled, but they're so robotic. At times like they really lack a lot of creativity.
Mm. Yeah, I think that's a very good point, especially with this like Arsenal team. I think
Hmm.
that's like the perfect uh representation.
And then just a really, really quick point on West Ham. I completely forgot they got this player on loan when he came on late, but Evan Ferguson, um, I'll be interested to see kind of more going forward. I think they have a game tomorrow or Friday, so we'll see if he starts, especially since they're playing like a weak Leicester team.
Mm.
Because he's
Yeah,
kind of he was a high prospect and kind of had to fall off. So
yeah. I'm not too high on that man, but I know that Brighton, especially who are like number one recruiters,
hmm
they were high on him.
yeah.
Any other things you wanted to point out from this game?
Nah, I think that's it.
Yeah, it's very disappointing, Arsenal. Very. Next we'll go to, unfortunately, we got to touch on my boys. We'll go to Villa Park, where fortunately, Villa came back to beat Chelsea 2-1, two goals by Marco Asensio. Uh, I think both assisted by Marcus Rashford.
Yes.
The connection of the M and M's. Um, yeah, two washed players coming back to haunt Chelsea. Do you think these
Don't gotta
guys?
roast like that, bro.
I'm just speaking facts. These guys are pretty much washed, but do you think
That's disrespectful, man. Asensio he was developing as a really nice player at Real Madrid, but his injuries that kept holding him back.
Yeah, he's washed now.
I hate when people say that, like the disrespect. It just feels a bit disrespectful.
He never lived up to his hype though.
Yeah, that
And
is.
the thing that, dude, no, the reason I get on Asensio because I usually don't like when people say washed either, but the reason I get on Asensio is because he thinks he's bit better than he really is. Especially when he was talking that smack on Ronaldo after scoring in the Champions League finals. Ever since then, I lost a ton of respect for Asensio. So that man for me is washed because he was speaking about how he's taking over Real Madrid and gonna exceed Ronaldo, like what Ronaldo accomplished. So for that reason, I'd never liked Asensio since then because of his
Ronaldo gave him the Ronaldo mentality. Gotta have the elite mentality.
nah, there's got to be some respect there. Just from scoring one goal in the Champions League, that game was wrapped too. But yeah, and then Rashford, he's yeah, washed. Um,
Disrespect.
so with these guys, do you think their careers might be revived?
I sure hope so. Honestly, Rashford, we kind of need him to be revived just so because he's not going to fit into Amorim's system. So we need him to be the best at Villa just so we can get high sale on him. And for his own sake, I mean, I'm sure representing your national team, uh, I mean, obviously it's a big deal. So definitely got to step up his game again to get the respect from and catch the eye of Tuchel. And I feel like Tuchel's like at almost every Premier League game. So um, especially these top matchups. So he's gonna be watching a lot of Villa games. So Rashford just has to kind of continue to impress.
Yeah, he's definitely looked a little better with Villa. I feel like he always knew he had the skill set. Um, like his skills were kind of always off the charts, but his biggest downfall, I think, is just his lack of desire or he was always just about himself too. It was never about the team first. But now at Villa, he's coming on into a scene where Villa's got a lot of talented players too. I think at United, the reason everyone had him, I mean, he was a star boy essentially, but like the reason that Marcus Rashford is who he is because he was playing alongside a lot of weak teammates, honestly. I mean, you did have the likes of like Pogba and stuff like that, but that's like one play. But like he was essentially like he didn't have other big name guys or guys that were really in really good form. So like that's why Rashford I felt like was always a little hyped up more than he should have been. Um, but like now he's coming into a Villa side where they've got a lot of talented guys, and I feel like he's under maybe he's trying to prove himself again, but like he probably also understands like there's other guys here as talented, if not more. So like I mean Morgan Rogers and Jacob Ramsey, uh, prime examples, but like it just seems like he has a little more desire
Yeah,
now.
and to your point, I think it is a blessing and a curse at the same time, like how Rashford broke into the scene so quickly at United as a youngster. Um, because then I think it put a lot of pressure, but then also I think it's a fall on both ends. Like United, I think we just didn't utilize him well when he was young. Like we after he had such a crazy start, like we just kept throwing him into every single big game, like never really eased him in. And so like he kind of got comfort over playing every game, no matter if he played bad, or anything. So it's kind of mismanagement on our end too. But yeah, to your point, I think Villa and Unai Emery, they're utilizing him really well, like
Hmm.
not giving him a start every game, bringing him on late, kind of testing him a bit as well. So
Yeah, and it doesn't help like before either that he never had like a stable coach. I
hmm
guess like he was always under some new managers. But I was looking back at some of his stats, but I was surprised he's never broken. Uh, just based on like how big of a name he was always portrayed. Like he never broke 20 goals in the Premier League. Um, and I thought there were a couple seasons he did, but surprisingly he never did. Um, his best tally was I think 16 goals when I was looking back. Um, and then flipping over to the Chelsea side, uh, again, someone that really disappointed me again was Nkunku. Uh, this was maybe a slightly better game, uh, but still, I thought he looked pretty poor, and he like slowed down our game a lot. Um, and we this was one game where uh, I know like he's not a true forward, and I think Enzo's just because he's looked so poor leading the lines. I think Enzo was just trying something new because he is so versatile. So like he completely adjusted and put Pedro Neto as a striker, which is definitely uh, not playing to his strengths. And basically, I feel like he did that just to cater to Nkunku, but Nkunku still just didn't take his opportunity. It didn't look good. Um, and then we had to bring on Sancho for him. And when Sancho came on, he, of course, hasn't looked good either.
that
But
brat.
yeah, and Kunku again, disappointing me. Uh, and then Enzo Fernandez, he's definitely improved a lot under Maresca. Um, I think he's one that under Poch, like there were a lot of questions for his price tag and stuff, but you're starting to see it a little more, his quality.
What'd you how serious is Trevor Chalobah's injury? Because he went down quite early.
Yeah, that was a very like awkward fall he had. Um, but I don't think it's too serious. Like his back injury, uh, I think he might miss this weekend, but the following he should be back.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say if he was out for a while, that might have been a big loss because he looks he's looked pretty good on his callback from loan.
Yeah. And then the clutch thing is Wesley Fofana now is uh he's back for us too.
No knees Fofana.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
That's
pretty impressed with Pedro Neto though. He, I thought he had probably the from Chelsea. I thought he was the best player out there.
surprisingly.
Constant threat. I think that was the Pedro Neto a lot of Chelsea fans were waiting on, like driving forward, playing his strengths.
Hmm. Yeah, I was surprised, especially at the striker role. I feel like he looked really good when he first joined our team, and then now he's probably been on a run of like maybe 3 games where he's been good, so he just needs to consistently keep it up.
hmm Um, and
And
Cole Palmer, he's getting a little bit of people like saying he's kind of losing his quality or not contributing, going quiet in the big games, but like I feel like that's a little unfair just because like last season and even most of this season he's like been basically your entire attack by himself. So like I feel like you can't blame Palmer, especially that one chance with Martinez. Yeah, it could have been better dealt where he
Mhm.
unfortunately slipped, but I feel like you gotta take it easy on Palmer. Some people, take it easy on Palmer.
Yeah, I will say I agree to an extent. I do think he's been lost at times during games. Um, and the reason is I think it's more just the positioning because this year he's playing as like the number 10 in the middle and teams are just swarming around him. So like, I mean, how's he supposed to get the ball, Like, so it makes sense why he's not getting the ball as much and uh being able to create I mean, he's still create a lot of chances, but like definitely not getting opportunities like last year. Like he's not on the ball as much, but last year with Poch, like he was coming from the right side. He would get the ball out wide, or he'd usually, start on the right and kind of drift into the middle. And I feel like I really want to see him do that again because teams are less likely to just keep swarming on him like they are now. And I mean, look at how much Madueke and Sancho get the ball compared to him, especially in dangerous positions. Like we want Cole Palmer, who's our best and most skilled player, to be on the ball the most in those positions. So um, I don't know. I think if we try putting Palmer back on the right, I think um, I think that might help him out a little more. Because at 10, he just gets lost in the game sometimes, and he
Yeah.
looks frustrated too.
hmm
And then we just didn't really have anyone on the bench to really turn to either. We had 3 kids that would have made their Premier League debut, and then 3 more who are like teens. So,
Yeah.
and then yeah, it was unfortunate the second goal, Jorgensen just that blunder
Yeah, that's
save.
unlucky.
Um, but we'll move on from that game and then go into oh, and also on Saturday, Palace beat Fulham, kind of a mid-table game. Palace started off slow, but they're climbing the table. They're in 12th now. But I just want to give out a shout out to Mateta, dude, because that second goal, I think Munez, uh, the way Mateta carried it from his own box and assisted Munez, and it was insane.
Yeah, he had like a nice little skill, and
Yeah. But we'll move on to Sunday, and we had 2 big games on paper. So the first one was definitely the better of the two, entertainment wise. Newcastle versus Nottingham. Uh, Newcastle won 4-3. What were your thoughts from this one?
I think it was a tale of two halves. First half, Newcastle
Hmm.
domination. Second half, Nottingham Forest complete domination. Um, and it was literally two of tale of two halves. Like Newcastle, they had four the first half, and then Forest they got an early goal, but it was kind of off a mistake. But by Joe Willock, I mean Joe Willock by Jacob Murphy. Um, but after that, Newcastle just completely flying. I thought Lewis Hall offensively had a really good game, um, as well as Isak. Uh, and Forest, I don't know why. I know they are a very counterattack heavy team. But like we saw it how they played the second half. I don't know why they like they're more than capable of being on the front foot. I don't know why they didn't play like that the first half because they were completely dominant and could have actually pulled away and stolen the game that second half performance.
Yeah, that first half, especially, it was like that span of 15 minutes. It felt like World War II German tactics of like Blitzkrieg. Like they were just boom, like it was crazy attack after like Nottingham could not breathe.
Hmm.
But yeah, shout out to I'm glad you mentioned Lewis Hall. I thought the um key for Newcastle was the matchups between because Nottingham's attack's been pretty lethal on the counter. And they have maybe the most athletic guy in Alonga. So I thought the key matchups would be Hudson-Odoi and Livramento, and then Lewis Hall and Alonga. And I thought Newcastle fullbacks both played really well. Um,
Yeah, because I think Alonga, just from I don't know if it's like an eye test or something, but he looks like the fastest player in the league.
yeah, I did see a stat though that David Raya, I think, hit the highest speed.
Oh, in that West Ham game,
Yeah, I don't
oh,
know if it meant like in the game or in the Premier League
he was
because
booking it.
he was, but I'm like, no way he's faster than like Alonga.
Oh, that's wild.
I have to look into that a little more. But yeah, shout out to Lewis Hall, and then also I think we need to give a shout out to Newcastle's midfield. Going into the game, I thought it was going to be a really end-to-end back and forth type of game, not necessarily a tale of two halves. The biggest reason is because Newcastle's midfield, I thought, were going to be very unknown, like unpredictable in how they'd play. But surprisingly, because Nottingham's midfield is strong with Gibbs White and Elliot Anderson, that dude's a dog. But them versus up against Smiley and Willock, I was kind of nervous for Newcastle.
I was actually not as worried. I thought this was one game where Newcastle were a bit lucky, didn't it? They came up with Forrest when Joe Ellington was out because they didn't really need his physical presence in there. Um,
Hmm. Even against like Elliot Anderson and like Dominguez, like those
yeah,
workhorses.
yeah.
Interesting.
I thought Willock actually looked quite impressive. I
Yeah, I
like,
thought, yeah, without Joe Linton, especially, not necessarily Tonali, but Joe Linton, I thought those midfielders would just split Newcastle's midfield. Um, and especially Joe Linton does so much tracking back, like when Alonga and Hudson-Odoi, like those guys, because they play on like the right and left, they usually like to cut in, and Joe Linton would be the guy to um, kind of break up play. But like I thought Lewis Miley especially like did a pretty good job filling in, breaking up play.
yeah. I will say though, this is another game where it kind of shows. I wish you could VAR a free kick. Because that first goal was a free kick on Anthony Gordon by Ola Aina that led to the Lewis Miley goal. Um, and like if you look back on the replay, like Gordon didn't even get touched. So it's kind of unlucky.
Yeah, I know. This was definitely one of his worst games of the season.
Him and Nico Williams,
Yeah, they were
they're both having a
struggling.
little rough time.
But I will say Anthony Gordon, I can't think of another winger that's better than him right now in the Premier League.
Yeah, I think he probably has that left wing spot cemented as like the best player.
Hmm.
The one thing I noticed about Anthony Gordon, the way he makes his runs is like he makes causes a lot of confusion for defenses because he never really runs on a straight line. He kind of runs diagonally, which um kind of takes the defenders out of position because then like Isak will make runs going the other way. So then I don't know, like a lot of players try to just win. Like if you just notice, a lot of players just try to win their battles and go to the touchline. But Gordon, when he makes his runs, it's always like kind of diagonal way across the field.
Hmm.
And it just brings like everyone on the opposition like out of position.
Mm. Yeah, and I feel like what you said with Isak too. I feel like the two of them together have a really good chemistry.
What was it, that second goal or the third goal where like Isak had the or Lewis Hall played it to someone who played it to Isak and Isak like backheeled it right to Gordon.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was crazy.
and yeah, like Gordon too. Like I think the types of runs he makes helps him because he never seems to like break stride either. Like he always
Nah.
seems to be running full pace.
hmm Yeah,
And then
that was an entertaining game. And Milinkovic, he had a crazy like striker instinct finish.
yeah, because Nottingham they were itching for that goal. Second half, it just wasn't coming. And then once they got that second goal, like yeah, they still needed two more to get a point, but like it felt like it could be done easily.
Yeah, they missed like I think it was Murillo or Milinkovic had an easy for their standards, like off a corner kick where they missed a header, just had to
Yeah.
place it on goal. Um, yeah, they had their chances. And then Isak, that penalty, that could have been embarrassing if he missed.
Oh yeah. Nick Pope though, poor that first one definitely blame on the outfielders, but Nick Pope could have also done slightly better. And then I don't know if we'll talk on today's Newcastle game, but Soboslai's goal, I thought, yeah, it went through a bunch of legs, but
I'm not a
he
fan of Pope.
he didn't get down quick enough.
I don't think he's the best of keepers. Definitely could upgrade on that position.
Yeah, I think they are looking to upgrade. They're trying to get Trafford, I think, who Cole Palmer has called world class. I
You've
think
heard the crazy
that's
Trafford story?
him and JJ
And
Watt.
yeah, that bet looks the real deal.
Yeah. How many clean sheets is it in a row now?
I think 13.
That's crazy.
And the crazy part is, just I think it was 2 weeks ago, um, Burnley, um, when was it? Two, three. Okay, so January 17th they played Sunderland and Trafford he made two PK saves that game.
Yeah, that's insane. That was a player that I thought was gonna stay up from Burnley once they got relegated. I know you weren't a huge fan of him, but
Yeah,
I'm
I
a
never saw the hype. Can you
dude, I'm a
guess
big fan.
can you guess how many goals they conceded in 34 matches so far this year? Sorry, this is the last thing
And
about
champ
Burnley. Yeah.
I think I think it's like 10 goals, right?
Yeah, sub 10. They've only conceded 9.
9.
It's wild.
That's insane.
For
Championship.
championship, yeah, championship is like goals galore.
Yeah. But no, Trafford is amazing. I've been a huge fan of his for a couple years, so hopefully he gets back to Premier League to a actual like not Burnley. Um, I didn't realize their coach was Scott Parker.
He's kind of a bum.
Yeah, but yeah, let's move on to the last game in the Premier League that day, which was Liverpool versus City. Uh, City ended up losing 2-0. I do think the first 10 minutes, City was the better team, but Salah scored in a brilliant corner kick play, design play. Arsenal needs to take some notes there. That was better than any Arsenal one I've seen so far. And then Soboslai getting the second, and ever since that, it kind of looked GG, but
Salah
starting
again.
with,
Sorry, Salah again the assist as well there. So
oh, yeah.
um Salah got an assist today as well. So Salah just needs three more assists to hit the 20 assists, and he's already on 25 goals. So If he gets another, I think if he gets 4 assists, he'll basically break TT's record for the assist record, the 2020 season. Like a,
Yeah. He only needs four, right, to break that?
hmm
Yeah. Um, and then yeah, let's give Salah his praise first. So you mentioned that. I know he's also hit the 40 mark again for goals and assists in a Premier League season, and he's the only player to do it twice now in Premier League history. And then I think the most Premier League goals and assists in a single season was Alan Shearer with not Newcastle, it was with Blackburn. Um, wait, no, it was with Newcastle, I think. Um, 47, and then Andy Cole with 47 as well. So Mohamed Salah is at 41. So I think he's gonna break that pretty easily too.
that'll be easy. Yeah.
And yeah, he got an assist today against Newcastle, but
We'll need a
another.
designated episode to just talk about Salah's record.
Oh yeah, for sure. Um, he also, I felt like today, or not today, this weekend against City, the one poor part of City, like the only or Liverpool that stuck out was Trent.
Yeah, he
Was
stuck out like a sore thumb out
He was
there.
getting cooked. It was funny because Salah looked like a better defender than Trent.
Yeah, and Salah doesn't even really come back to help
Yeah,
during games.
yeah, there were points where Trent got cooked and Salah had to come back and help on Doku, and Doku was trying to go one on one with Salah. I think it was two or three times, and Salah won those battles. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, Trent, his Real Madrid stocks aren't looking that great. Like, um,
Um,
I mean, we always knew its offensive game was never the question. It was always his defending abilities. Um,
hmm
but this this Liverpool setup was kind of interesting to start the game. It was like a 4-2-4. They didn't play with like a true striker.
Yeah.
Um, I know Salah, as deserved, should get the praise, but I think the other player that should get had the second best performance. And you can tell how hard he worked just because at the like full-time whistle, he literally like collapsed and was like laying there. Was Dominic Soboslai. The amount of running he was doing, um,
hmm
it was crazy.
Yeah, that man is. He's also like seemed like the first guy to trigger the Liverpool's like their classic high press. Like I felt like he was always the first one to
hmm
get it, and I felt bad for him. Like Van Dijk was getting mad at him a couple times in the first half because he wouldn't press. But I was like, yo, Szoboszlai does like so much running for the team, and it's like selfless running too.
Yeah, I think if there's like any more minutes added to that stoppage time, he would like literally collapse because he put in a shift.
Dude, yeah.
And I was a fan of him at Leipzig, but I was pretty critical of his first year at Liverpool because I didn't think he really lived up to his standards or capabilities, but he really shows like the importance of why he's on the squad week in and week out.
Yeah, I feel like he's definitely been given a little more attacking freedom under Slot. Under Klopp, I think he was a little more restricted, but I think that's definitely one player that's improved under Slot. Same with like Gravenberch, but
hmm
um,
You want to touch on some City players
for me,
or any other Liverpool shout outs? I know we gave Endo a shout out earlier in the pod.
no one really from Liverpool, but I will say I'm kind of sad for De Bruyne because I feel like um, his time at City is coming to an end. I think this might be his last season, and it's just kind of a sad way to crash out. And like you can kind of see the injuries. I mean, I guess his age, but like just like kind of catching up to him and like his injuries. He just doesn't look the same.
Yeah, and I think that I forget when it was, like that one shot he had. It might have been right before halftime, and it's like way skywards, way like off target, and it was like that's kind of just summing up KDB this year, and City as a whole. Uh, I mean, he'll be like one of the Premier League all-time greats, but yeah, it's
Mm.
I think it's kind of wraps for him.
Yeah, I think they're trying to move on. Um, there's been reports that he's going to be gone after this year. And then John Stone and Jack Grealish are two others.
Yeah, that's mind-boggling to always think Grealish, 100 mil player.
And then, yeah, that's another player where I felt like you mentioned earlier about uh, Fabregas talking about the game has just become like players robots, becoming robots. I feel like Grealish is a prime example of that too, where at Villa, dude, he was like a fun player to watch, like a lot of creativity, but like I feel like under Pep, he kind of lost the love for the game a little.
Yeah, and there's a I think Instagram account where it's like nostalgic. It's like something nostalgic football or something. And it's
Hmm.
like prime Barclays days where like literally you see players like individually just make runs and like outside the box like bangers. Like we never see this anymore, and I feel like it was ever since like Pep kind of came into the Premier League. Like it
Yeah.
slowly started shifting away to kind of playing
Hmm.
one form of one style of play.
Because before Grealish was like Hazard almost like in terms of like his strength and ability to like dribble and use his body.
Hmm.
Like now it's like he's just kind of a player in the system.
Exactly. Yep.
But yeah, I think De Bruyne sad. Foden's been shit. Uh, Doku though, shout out to him. I know he's been hurt for a little, but that man started from the bottom and he's like slowly just worked his way up through uh, kind of his career. But like I felt like he was just unstoppable, and Trent was. I think it's like the most dribbled past player was Trent
Hmm.
since the 2015 season.
Yeah. Do you think Foden, this is the worst campaign after winning a PFA Player of the Year?
Has to be.
I
Yeah,
think so too.
it's shocking.
And it's kind of sad because I think like the whole plan was once De Bruyne's time was up at City, it was Foden to take the ring. Um,
Yeah, but I think they're hopefully they can go in and get. I hope they don't get him, but for them, I think they're trying to. They have to get Wirtz as like the next guy.
yeah, I think they got to cash in whatever they can for him.
Was there any other players that stuck out to you, or any other points you want to touch on?
Uh, did Slot get a red card this game? Because he wasn't in the touchline today.
I think it was from that Everton game. I don't, but I was confused because he was in that touchline this one, right?
Yeah, I wasn't sure what was going on.
Yeah, because he got a red after Everton, so
Hmm.
I was confused.
Yeah, I don't player wise, I don't really have any other thoughts, but
Um,
and I think sorry, real quick, it's uh yeah, I think it's GG title
mhm.
wraps. And I think I said it way back Thanksgiving time where it was when they played the reverse fixture in Thanksgiving. I said if Liverpool had beaten City, it was title wraps by then. So,
Yeah, and it's looking exactly like that.
hmm.
It's a good call. Um, so that was the games from the weekend. We have to give a shout out to Rio Betis, Antony, uh, getting an assist, a crazy assist,
Yeah,
carry it from
that.
like his
Hmm.
own half, and he got a red too, right?
Yeah.
With that that was kind of a pointless tackle, but I think they got it recalled, so like he's gonna be able to play against Madrid this weekend.
Ooh, nice.
And then, do you know how your Marseille boys did? over the weekend?
They got obliterated. Um,
Ah,
they did play with a man down too, though. So
gotcha. Okay. Not good news there, but Real Betis, Antony's still eating. And then also just real quick, I want to touch on Monday's game. There was a big one in the championship, Leeds versus Sheffield. It was the one versus the two. Sheffield actually won that or was winning early on. Millier had an own goal. It was kind of tough to fault him, but he made this crazy save. It was absolutely crazy. You need to watch it. And he like tipped it off the crossbar. But Leeds second half though, absolutely dominated towards the end. And that man, Daniel James, dude, holy.
he's our triplet,
Yeah,
born on the
November
same
10th. Yeah.
day. Yeah.
Dude, he was absolutely cooking. I was like, bro, this man looks like he looked like I don't even know, dude, like a speed demon, but like with skills. I was like, yo, he had two assists that were ridiculous. Like his finishing was quite poor though. He should have had a couple goals, but um yeah, shout out to Daniel James though. Definitely I thought the best player for Leeds. And then they scored a banger in the 90th minute that striker. I think he's pretty highly sought after, Joel Perot,
Hmm.
the Dutch striker. But yeah, Leeds now are top of the table, 5 points ahead of Sheffield at 75, Sheffield 70. Those guys would be automatic, assuming tables hold, and then Burnley at third with 68, and Sunderland with 62. But moving on to some more games from the midweek. I won't really get into this one, but we beat Southampton 4-0. It's Southampton, so I'm not going to really say anything. Nkunku started out in the left again, but he ended up kind of playing the more striker role. Um, yeah, I don't really have any. Southampton's just really bad, so
I
uh,
will say the only thing from Southampton, which I'll we can talk off pod as well, but I know you guys have a player. There's a Man United fan who like he does like high depth analysis of like our squad as well as like potential recruitments. Um, and he said one player that he really wants United to sign while his price is like affordable right now. Because he thinks he can play like that David Luiz role where he can play center back, but really goes into the midfield by trade. But he said he
oh, don't
wants
say it.
United to go after Leslie Akachuko for the future.
Yeah, that's not happening, bro. That man's gonna be at Chelsea. He, nah, he might go out on loan again, because he's maybe only 20,
Mhm.
but nah, he's gonna stay at
You think so? Even with because you guys have a stacked midfield.
yeah, but I like his versatility where he can play center back as well. But it's unfortunate with like Lavia, dude. He stays kind of injured. But like one also thing I'd say is the way we play is like very uh like high intensity type of style. This is a type of game where I didn't think Caicedo needed to stay in so long.
Hmm.
Um, and so I wish Enzo kind of rotated, but then it was just kind of teenagers coming off the bench. But like once we get Leslie back, I think this would be a type of game where Leslie would be able to kind of start.
Gotcha.
But no, I really hope y'all don't get him because I'm a huge fan of his.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know too much about him. So that guy, he was super high on that player, and
Yeah,
said he'd be a good fit. So
yeah. Trey, one of our friends, he's really high on Leslie Gachoko too as well. And speaking of Chelsea loanees and stuff, Kearney Chukwuemeka made his debut at Dortmund, and their coach, I forget what his name is, but he was giving high praises to him.
oh, for real?
Yeah.
Damn, they had a 6-0 win over the weekend. Garassi 4 goals.
That man's eating.
Oh, Pascal Gross 4 assists. Crazy.
Yeah, Gross making it look easy over there. It's a Bundesliga. Um, and then from today, uh, we can start with. So United ended up beating Ipswich 3-2, even with the red, but I know we haven't been able to watch that game yet. Um, and then
Safe from relegation, baby.
Nottingham versus Arsenal. What were your thoughts here?
Same old Arsenal. Like it's mind-boggling that their best influencer this game was Calafiori. Um, it's
That was
gonna,
like the only chance they had, no?
yeah, and then I think Moreno off a corner. Um,
Corner hype.
yeah, they were playing for the set pieces. They had 11 corners, this game. Uh, but yeah, just on their performance, it just doesn't move me at all.
Yeah, even Nottingham though, like they didn't really create much. Wood had that one chance where Saliba saved them with that slide tackle.
It was a bad touch by him to start with, but yeah,
Yeah,
good
still,
recovery.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think if he didn't get that touch though, it would have probably fallen to Chris Wood. No,
Yeah,
still,
I think so. Yeah, it might
um,
have.
yeah, Saliba. But like, I don't know. The more I was after this game, you know what I was thinking? Is Premier League overhyped? Like, yeah, we shit on Bundesliga. Like, I do think Premier League's better than Bundesliga for sure. But after watching this game, I was like, yo, Arsenal is the second best team in the league, and I mean third best team is Nottingham, and Arsenal have a pretty good space between like second place and like top four, like the rest of the people competing for three and four. But like these are our top two teams in the league, and this game was absolute garbage. Like no one, it seemed like they had a gentleman's agreement to come out with the tie, but like I was like, is this really our number two and number three best teams in the league?
I'll
Like,
give, as much as I like to shit on Arsenal too, I'll give them a little leeway just not having their full stack squad.
mm.
Um,
But like I don't know, the past couple of years, I'm thinking like Premier League, like is it losing its quality a little, and maybe like I don't know, Serie A is getting a little, in La Liga has become a little more, I feel like a little more competitive, entertaining.
yeah, La Liga is entertaining, I'd say. Uh, La Liga and Serie A, to your point. Bundesliga, I don't know if Bundesliga I would consider top five in my opinion. They're kind of really just Bayern and
Yeah, the quality there is kind of weak.
very.
But yeah, that was kind of had me thinking. I was like, man, is Premier League kind of losing its like eliteness?
Mhm.
And then touch on Liverpool versus Newcastle. Um, we can kind of keep these kind of short. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, again, so Salah was a bit more quiet this game, but again, Szoboszlai just engine of the team. The Salah once a game Travella pass hit should have been scored by Diaz. That was like on a plate.
Hmm.
But
Do
again,
you,
Lewis Hall, I'll give him props. Defensively, I thought he handled Salah very well.
agreed? I think. Do you think Isak makes it that much? Because going forward, I thought Newcastle looked pretty poor. Do you think Isak makes that much of a difference?
Yeah, he's he's the most informed striker at the moment in the Premier League.
Yeah, it just seemed like Wilson just like the runs he was making and just like they didn't have that connection. It seemed like
Where was Isak?
he's hurt.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Hopefully it's not a long term.
Yeah, I don't know how serious it is. I don't think it is, but yeah, we'll see. And it was kind of like a shock injury out of nowhere.
Oh, wow. It was crazy to see completely irrelevant, but the coaching staff since bless you.
Excuse
Since
me.
Arnie's slot was, I guess, red and not in the touchline, it was funny to see their coach was Johnny Hatenga, um,
Hmm.
like an Everton legend.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Um, so yeah, it's mostly the Premier League. And then do you want to touch on some La Liga games at Copa del Rey?
Yeah, especially the Atletico one we can touch on.
Yeah, so Copa del Rey, to those listening, it's basically like the FA Cup version of that tournament in Spain. So yesterday, Barca played Atletico Madrid and ended up being 4-4. Julian Alvarez, dude, I'm happy that he left City because I feel like he's been getting the love he deserves and the recognition. Um, I think he's a player that City could definitely have used in the past when City have needed some players to step up. I felt like he was always the guy to kind of do that, but he scored another goal today or yesterday.
Yeah, goal and assist. Um, has a nice setup to Griezmann. Yeah, to your point, fans love Alvarez, rightfully so. Had a bit of a slow start, but I mean, he's been on fire. And then got to give props to Griezmann at his age. Like he's one player who's uh he's almost like a Valverde, but not to the extreme where he's changed positions a lot, kind of changed his role as well. And I feel like he's still like a really crucial piece to
Hmm.
Atletico. Um, I don't know if the first goal to Alvarez, I don't know if it counts as an assist. I mean that was a great ball, and even over the weekend in Atletico's game, Griezmann, he was the one that was really creating a lot of the chances. So I feel like he's another player that,
Hmm.
as old as he is getting, still has a lot of quality to his game.
Yeah, I agree. And then Lamine Yamal too on that first goal for Barca. Yeah, Griezmann. I don't know if he got that first assist, but like Lamine Yamal, he didn't get the assist because I think it was Koundé who ultimately got the assist, but like he was the one that his pass was like ridiculous with like the outside of his foot. Um,
Hmm.
and it's still crazy to think like how young he is, and like every time he takes on a player, it's like oh, one on one, it's like raps.
Yeah, that Galine guy had a rough time. Barca, Kunde, I thought had a really poor game.
Yeah.
Um, that second goal for Atletico was basically his poor turnover, and then I think it was the third goal. Like he was kind of caught sleeping, and then also not sure why Lewandowski didn't start, but Fernand Torres wasted a lot of chances.
That man is a joke when he starts. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's
His
nuts.
finishing is ugh,
Yeah, it's
nasty.
disgusting. Uh,
Yeah, I think
and
they've been like rotating a lot with him and Lewandowski.
because I don't know I mean, it's a big matchup playing Atletico. I don't know Copa del Rey, like if it's FA Cup level or the Carabao Cup, but I mean, either way, it's a big matchup. So I'm not sure why Lewandowski like wouldn't get a shoe and start in this game. But uh, Atletico, I was a bit disappointed um, with how they conceded two of the goals. Is uh, Kubarsi and Martinez's goal like literally a carbon copy of each other? Just people asleep in the back post, easy goals.
Yeah, I feel like that was very unlike both teams. Barca, unlike them to score headers like that from set piece, and then unlike Atletico, to your point, to give up set piece goals.
Hmm. And
And
I
then
will
for
say,
oh,
sorry, one last point is
yeah,
I will say Barca got very lucky that they didn't get PSG in the Champions League draw because this game just shows you like. if they got matched up versus PSG, PSG I think would have not I wouldn't say easily, but they would have had a pretty easy chance of moving on because Barca's defense was like easy to pick apart. That high line they play is like I don't know. They're so it comes from the manager, I guess, but like so stubborn with it.
It makes no
Athletio,
sense though, with like 15 minutes left and you're up 2 goals.
yeah, like Carrera had one where he was like threw on goal so easily. Terrible finish, but like
He's usually a super sub too.
yeah, I know. I wanted to pick him, but yeah, like I don't know what Barca were doing. And I think because this is a tournament where it's like over two legs, so
Hmm.
I'm sure Simeone was just happy to go with like being down a goal, but like coming out with a tie, like he's probably hype.
Yeah. A player that also stuck out was like Pedri. I feel like he's kind of sets the tone for the game, like dictating the game going forward, but also like defensively, he kind of plays box to box. And I feel like ever since he kind of fell apart, I don't know if maybe it was just the timing, but like I feel like ever since he got subbed out, they kind of fell apart in the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, and it was weird because the subs they made were to prevent that fourth goal. Like they brought in a bit more defensive minded players.
And then yeah, I that Pedri De Jong midfield, that might be my favorite midfield duo in the world. Like the two, I could watch them forever, dude.
Yeah, they're fun to watch. I miss the De Jong days.
Yeah, I feel like it's slowly coming back now, but like I feel like he's so quality, and then obviously Pedri's like my favorite midfielder, so
Mhm.
like those two are just class.
I think De Jong's the best midfielder at like he's almost like the Busquets modern day like best like playing out the press like always calm in those situations, always gets out of the press like it's wild.
And he can definitely carry the ball a little more too.
Hmm.
But let's move on to the other Copa del Rey semifinal today. Real Madrid versus Real Sociedad. Um, I thought Real Madrid looked pretty poor. Um,
They got a little lucky.
I think so. I thought Lunin he made some pretty crazy clutch saves.
I think both goalkeepers deserved a man of the match.
Oh yeah, the other keeper too. Yeah.
They were both making some crazy saves. Um, Endrick definitely took his chance well, getting the opportunity to start.
That was so
Uh,
calm.
Mbappe, apparently he was out because of like a tooth extraction.
Yeah. That finish was ridiculous. Outside of his foot, so calm.
He had another chance in the second half, kind of similar where Vinny played a long ball and ridiculous first touching snapshot, but it hit the crossbar.
Mm.
Uh, but yeah, I thought chances wise, Real Sociedad had the better opportunities. But to your point, Lunin, he was going moving crazy.
Yeah, I feel like it comes down to their defenders today, Real Madrid. Rudiger looked a little off. I don't know if he's hurt or something, but like this was one game I think with Raul Asensio probably his worst game, but he was also playing like right back. Um, yeah, other than that, I think once I get it back to Bernabeu, I think it's wraps though.
Hmm. Yeah, Bernabeu is always a tough place to play for sure.
It's unfortunate for you guys because um like I feel like your all season like Premier League wise, is like super tragic. Um but like the only way you can salvage the season is FA Cup and Europa League, and like of course in Europa League you drew like the hardest other team remaining in Real Sociedad, and then FA Cup you got Uh, I mean, FA Cup, there's still some pretty easy teams left, but you guys got Fulham.
Yeah, I need to look at how we got Real Sociedad because I thought they finished. Okay, they finished 13th. Dang.
Yeah, and y'all just finished pretty well in Europa League.
Yeah, Tottenham got the easiest route.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but second leg, I think Real Madrid should have it in wraps. Hopefully, I saw Valverde was like in the injury list, but hopefully it's not serious. I know Danny Ceballos, he came off injured, uh, and he was like in tears. So hopefully his injury's not too serious.
Yeah, he's been crucial for them. Surprisingly, because at Arsenal, he was trash.
Hmm.
Um, but should we just kind of wrap it up and kind of call out games that people should kind of keep an eye on for this weekend?
Yeah, let's do it.
Um, from my end, I think the biggest one on Saturday is going to be in Serie A
Hmm.
for that first place battle versus Inter Napoli. 1 point difference, so they play at 12 on Saturday. It's kind of the big one that I'm keeping an eye on.
Yep.
And then Sunday. Oh, and then of course Saturday. I think within La Liga too. Athletic club. They've been pretty good this
Hmm.
year, top four. So they'll be playing Atletico. So that's going to be a tough one. Atletico's kind of fighting for that top spot as well, 1 point back from first. And then Real Betis play Real Madrid.
Yep.
And Betis has been catching fire ever since Antony's. Come on.
And then, yeah, I think you got all the big games covered for Saturday. Sunday, we play Fulham in the FA Cup. So this weekend is a break from Premier League since it's FA Cup. So we play Sunday. Barcelona, they play Real Sociedad in La Liga, and uh, AC Milan play Lazio. Um, our let's see, my Marseille boys take on FC Nantes Sunday, and
Who's a nonce?
who's the Nantes? Oh, that's goofy. Uh, yeah, let me read some of the other FA Cup matchups as well. Oh, sorry, France on Saturday, PSG versus Lille. PSG is still the
Ooh.
only undefeated team in top five European leagues. Uh, FA Cup games though, Saturday we got Palace versus Millwall, Preston versus Burnley, Bournemouth versus Wolves, City versus Plymouth. So we'll see if Plymouth can pull the upset
Plymouth,
again.
come on.
Um, and then Sunday, as I mentioned, we play Fulham, and then first game of that day for FA Cup is Newcastle versus Brighton. Um,
It's crazy. Plymouth are like about to get relegated from the championship.
yeah, it's wild. I mean, they low key have a new manager bounce, I guess, because they got a new manager literally right before their upset game. And then we don't follow the MLS really. Apologies, but it is the return of MLS, and Charlotte host Atlanta United on Saturday. So there's some hype around Charlotte as we got Wilfred Zaha crazy. Um,
Yes, sir.
and speaking of MLS, also just quick news before we wrap up. Messi got a fine as uh, I believe it was yesterday. After the game, he got in some beef with the opposing team and grabbed the assistant coach by the neck. Um,
Oh.
Messi's been in some controversies because in the first leg of that game, the referee right after the game asked for Messi's jersey and he gave it to him. So it's like, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of bad looks on the ref. Like, bro, you want Messi to win? Um, but yeah, MLS controversies. Uh, I think with that. Oh, and then sorry, last FA Cup game is Monday, Forest versus Ipswich. Um,
Ooh, come on, Forest. Psych. We want Ipswich, boy.
yeah, we want Ipswich.
I don't know
Um,
if I could see Forest kind of falling out of the top four
yeah, I do too. I think I said Newcastle will sneak their way into the top four.
and up the
Um,
Chels.
nah, I don't think Chelsea, unfortunately.
Are you going
But
City?
yeah, I think City.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, with that, it's been another episode of Super Subs podcast. We'll catch you guys next week. Peace out.
Peace.